Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. Yes, Gerald is not here. I am Joe Soro, coming right back at you here at the Lakers Fast Break. Pop Culture Cosmos, Inside Sports Fantasy Football Game Source. We appreciate everyone out there listening to all of our great shows. Please, if you can, give us a 5-star review wherever you listen to your podcast. And please like, subscribe, and follow, or do whatever you can to support us right here at the Lakers Fast Break. Shout out to my good friends at LakersBall.com. I know they're probably depressed right now. I'm getting there right now. We got Stone here. We got Sean. We got John hopefully coming soon. Gerald will be here. He's playing Taxi right now in Vegas, but he will be here. What can I say? A 2-10 start to the 22-23 season, and the Lakers fought back valiantly, made a season-changing trade at the deadline, getting some young talent that actually came through the last quarter of the season. Had a great first series against the 2 seed in Memphis. Won that series 4-2, and then played the, at that time, reigning champs and beat them 4-2. But the pumpkin has arrived. Cinderella, it's midnight. Lakers go down against Denver at home for Game 4, getting the sweep, or I should say getting the sweep, 4-0 in a game that at least gives us a little bit of respect to the Lakers for not quitting. It's unfortunate that they had such a huge lead at the half and couldn't hang on to it, but it's kind of indicative of what the series was. It's just lost opportunities, not making the shots when you were supposed to, and this is kind of where we're at. Congratulations to the Denver Nuggets, their first appearance in the NBA Finals. We'll see what happens in the finals. I think it's pretty safe to say that Miami is going to be the Eastern participant. Should be a good series. I really don't care who wins at this point. It's off season for me, guys, and I'm ready for free agency. And Stone, I know you're ready for the draft. Oh boy. Let's. Looking at the stats here, we lose. We had a 20-point deficit in the third quarter, which I thought was kind of. I guess it's coincidental that the third quarters this year were always the bane of our existence, and that ended up being the final nail in the coffin. Stone, what did we see in the second half that pretty much gave us what we got here? Help me.
I mean, we just saw a team that was fought really hard to get to that point. Just didn't have the gas to keep going, and didn't have the coaching. I mean, a lot of it to keep going. Playing Tristan Thompson and Anthony Davis lineups together, and not really having out of bounds plays to capitalize on moments that could have tied us. There's a couple of different factors at play here, but ultimately I think those are the two biggest. Is we were extremely tired for getting to where we got. Like we said, I mean, we've had to play every game. Like the narrative has been, like every game, it's been a game 7 for us the past like 30 games. And we had to get into the play-in. We've played really hard and played extra games just to get us here. And I think that we did a really good job to get ourselves here as a team with the roster that we had. Ultimately, I think there are roster improvements to be made to get us in a better position to where hopefully we aren't at this point next season and we can go further. And I think that there's improvements to be made, hopefully by the coaching to take lessons from this and learn moving forward. for what not to do in situations like this. So it's a tough loss. I didn't want us to get swept, but we did make it to the Western Conference Finals for being a team that was no one really expected us to get here. So we started off poor, we ended really strong. I'm happy that we did what we could with the roster that we had, and now I'm looking forward to improving that roster to get us further next year.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the Lakers go down 113-111. LeBron had a career first half, scoring 31, ended up with 40 points, a near triple-double, I believe. He was 10 rebounds and 9 assists. Anthony Davis put in 21 and 14, went 9 of 10 from the free throw line. Austin Reeves, 17 points, played 40 minutes, made all his free throws. Even Tristan Thompson, which I never thought in a million years he'd get any legitimate time other than garbage time, actually played pretty well in the few minutes he played. Actually, kind of was inspiring watching him play. But the issue here, guys, is shot making, and shot making was ultimately going through all the discussions, all the who sucks, and all the stuff about what happened in the beginning of the year and the trading deadline and Darvin Ham's coaching ability. All this, at least from my perspective, came down to the fact that the Lakers struggled to make a 1-foot basket numerous times. And guys like D'Angelo Russell absolutely lost all their confidence once they knew that they weren't trusted, and we never were able to get that back. Anthony Davis, I don't know what he can do in the offseason other than sit under that basket and have someone use that, whatever that broom is with the cushion, and just hit your layups with that freaking thing hitting you in the face. You were getting hit in the face all year anyways. Might as well practice it with a cushion at least. Get used to getting baskets with contact. The Lakers could not hit an and one. And that, I'm going to go back to that play in game one. LeBron doesn't hit that and one right there when you could have been down 1 instead of 3, and it kind of just carried all the way through. Every game was like this. Every game. And all you needed was a couple more things to do. And this could have been a sweep on your end. It's crazy to say that. But then again, you are what you are. The Lakers are Dunsky. Dunsky, yes. And Sean, your assessment of the game tonight and what the future holds here. I'm still kind of coming down on this, but I have a little bit of positivity on what the Lakers can do to salvage next year's season, but I'm also worried about the old age thing. So what's your take on this?
My take is, Joe, LeBron tried to level up to a superhuman level tonight. Yeah, he did have 40 points. He had 31 in the first half. He had 7 in the third quarter. And in the fourth quarter, here's his stats. 2 points, 1 of 6 from the field, 0 of 1 from 3. He hit the side of the backboard to try and tie the game, and then his final attempt at the rim was blocked. So he ran out of gas. That's what happened to LeBron. He was trying to pick his spots with his energy, and he was feeling it in the first half. But the second half, he needed to take a break, Joe, and that was the difference because Rui and AD couldn't buy a bucket at the rim to save their life. At one point, AD was 2 of 9 from the field. He picked it up in the fourth quarter. AD was one of the only reasons why we were in it in the fourth quarter. Surprisingly, even though he only finished with 21 points, big chunk of that came in the fourth. But at one point, he was 2 of 9 from the field. Rui was 3 of 10. Now, while inserting the Rui into the starting lineup made the Lakers a little taller, it's interesting. It didn't really result in a better outcome because he was terrible finishing at the rim, and it seems like that's been a real big problem for him, not just in his time with the Lakers, but in his time with the Wizards as well. So as far as the game was concerned, I thought the Lakers did some good things, but again, like, Jokic hits 2 crazy circus shots from the outside. It was just their time. It was just their time. They had role players contributing in this series. Each one of their superstars took over a game, and tonight it was a mixture of all three. Very similar to the same recipe the Lakers had when they did it to the Nuggets in the bubble in 2020. I will say this, though. Aside from the game in the series being down 0-4, getting swept, I didn't think we'd be here. I'm just so blessed that we've had the time with our audience and with you gentlemen over the past 6 weeks, because it hasn't been all peaches and cream. Even, yeah, that's my ringtone. So anyway, I just wanted to say, starting out 2-10 and then making it all the way to the Western Conference Finals is actually a pleasant surprise to me. And I'm not pessimistic at all at what happened. I'm discouraged that bad habits reared their ugly heads again. It's like every bad habit we had defensively and from like a game management perspective and rotations as it concerns Darvin Ham, it was like an open wound. And unfortunately, Joe, the reason we got swept was because that open wound festered. It wasn't able to be cleaned. The cleanups didn't happen. Coming into this series, Ham was 6-0 off a loss, right? And now he's 6-3. He lost every game. So again, while 2-10, coming this far, being in the Western Conference Finals, I'm actually pleasantly surprised by this season. And I think they're just a couple players away, actually, because I like about 6 of the guys we have. We're probably going to lose a couple, but I'm thinking if we keep the 5 or 6 that we have and build around that, I'm feeling better about next year's team. You're on mute,
You're
Joe.
muted, Joe.
You're muted.
Sorry, guys.
Joe.
I'm a little, I'm a little choked up here. The Lakers fall 113-111. LeBron with 40 points. I would say he had his best individual game here for the playoffs, especially in the first half.
He had the worst fourth quarter of the playoffs. Though.
Yeah. It's getting to a point where I don't want to go into the prognostications of what we're going to be doing in the summer. I want to kind of stick to what happened tonight and also the season a little bit. Zangerstein has arrived. Z, I'm glad you're here. Welcome. And we're going to get a good insight here from you on what you kind of took from this game. So let me know what you thought about the first half and obviously what went wrong in the second half. 1 second. Do I have you on mute? Hold on 1 second. Sorry, Z. Are you there? I guess Z's not here. Sorry, folks. We've been having some technical difficulties here. We do have LRob, though. LRob. I was asking Zangerstein a question. I don't know what's going on over there, but can you give us a breakdown of what happened in the first half and what the Lakers did wrong in the second half? And I guess it's what they really did wrong the entire series.
Yeah. First half, it was LeBron. LeBron just came out with the strong determination that reminding everybody who he was and that he wasn't going to let the team lose or at least go out without a strong fight. So just incredible just to see how great he is and how much he still can do at 20 years in. That was an incredible first half. Why do we lose? It really goes to the third quarter. I mean, we missed 5-6 point blank shots right at the rack, just like Darvin Ham said at the beginning of fourth quarter. Rui missed 2 or 3. He missed one nice finger roll. He was right there. Dennis missed a couple right there. AD had one that I wouldn't say he missed. I think Joker made a good defensive play on him. But we missed a lot of shots right at the rack, and they was pushing out. They were bursting out with Joker leading the pack, and they scored. They got some fast break points on us. Something they wasn't able to do in the first half. So I think we played pretty good in the fourth quarter. I think we outscored them in the fourth quarter. Our defense was solid. We played much better defense. If we played that defense in the fourth quarter today, if we played that defense today in a couple of other games, we probably would have won at least a game 2 or game 3. So that was impressive that they fought back. Denver's just better, more cohesive team, more guys making big plays when it counts. So you tip your hat to them.
Yeah, it's again, I'm trying not to get into next level mode, even though I'm already starting to get there. Maybe probably starting tomorrow. I'm ready to start thinking about the 22, 23, 24 season. The issues in this series were an issue throughout the year, and that was preserving LeBron James. And we were trying to get someone to back up Anthony Davis by acquiring Mo Bamba. Unfortunately, Mo Bamba did not come through there. So you had AD and LeBron taking a lot of time being the guys. And as well as Rui played in spots, as well as Austin played in spots before this series, even as D'Lo played well every now and then, it's not enough. It wasn't enough. The Lakers needed a third guy that they could rely on to make the shot. And we couldn't get that guy. And I know Stone's probably going to agree with me on this one, is Darvin could not set up an offense to get it to the guys that could actually make an open shot on a regular basis. Because Austin was making shots regularly, especially when he was open. I would say close to 40, 45%. I don't have the statistics on me, but I would say that that's there. Now, word is already starting, and it started even a week ago. We're going to start hearing these Kyrie rumors. Now, how that turns out, I'm not going to get into that yet, but I'm going to say this. That's exactly what they need in terms of the talent side. Now, Kyrie brings a heck of a lot more than talent, unfortunately, to any team he's at. Plus, you have to also understand he is in Dallas at the moment. He is in the state of Texas, and a max contract there is worth more than any max contract anywhere else at that point. And not only the CBA terms, but also in the state of, the particular state he's in. So Kyrie, I've always said there are a few guys that will take less to play somewhere, but very rarely. And I don't see that happening. I don't see him taking a huge pay cut to come play in LA. It would have to be some kind of a trade. And then at the same time, you have Mark Cuban running things over there. He's not going to want to help the Lakers. So what the Lakers need to do now is they need to really sit down and soak in this season, deal with the depression, and then start figuring out how they're going to preserve at least LeBron James for maybe another year or two. If you can do that and you have the right talent around him, you can maybe get one more shot at getting a title. And that's kind of where we're at. So Stone, another thing I noticed in this game was the Lakers just, I don't know. I have to give credit to Denver. We're not giving credit to Denver. We're sitting there and we're saying that the offense was stagnant. They couldn't get a shot up. if you watch Denver playing defense, they were on them like glue several times. So you have to look at that instead of just being some Yahoo on some chat, not our chat, even though there are a few, and just saying they suck. Oh, he sucks. After a while, someone's gonna lose. It's like sitting there going, well, LeBron's gonna lose. LeBron's gonna lose. LeBron's gonna suck. Well, eventually he's gonna retire and he'll be done, right? Like that holds no water. In this case, LeBron played his butt off the first half, and it showed. It showed that when LeBron can LeBron, you get a 15-point lead. When LeBron doesn't LeBron, you lose that lead in 3 minutes? We have to get someone else to help LeBron and AD. And AD, if I had to put a GOAT on, and not greatest of all time, I'm talking about a GOAT of this game, AD missing those chippies absolutely was a dagger, at least to me. They killed us. He makes half of those bunnies, and we're going to Denver on Wednesday. And that's the tough part. That's the tough part about that, because that's your guy. That's the star and his prime guy. And that part is what's kind of starting to sink in right now and kind of depressing me, because we should be going to Denver right now.
Yeah, whenever you're in, a series like this, there's always two sides to it, right? It's not just one team won and one team lost, and there's a mix of both one team not playing good enough and one team just playing better. And Denver played better. They have most likely the best player in the world right now, making insane turnaround jump, like one-footed jump shot threes. They're able to do so much offensively because of how talented he is and play off of him in so many different ways. Defensively, they're all bigger than us. It's really tough for us to get in the rebounding battle because of just how big they are. They're also have really talented defenders. Gordon and KCP are like really good defenders. Bruce Brown is another extremely good defender. So you have a lot of guys that can run around the perimeter, which it hurts us because we need our perimeter players to really play well, because LeBron and AD, you need help. In every series you're in, you can't just rely on one or two players. You need multiple players to help and chip in. And the Nuggets are really good at making sure those guys make it tough for them to get involved. And they are just the better team. That's what it comes down to. They outplayed us in this series. The Lakers played really well. I'm not going to sit here and say, the Lakers are we got swept, but every game wasn't a blowout. We played well. The Nuggets they're younger. They had more gas in them. They're better they have the best player out of the series, and he played like it. So there's always two sides to it. We didn't play well enough because of other factors, and Denver played better than us. So you can't just say that it was a fluky thing in the Lakers. They should have won all these games. There's a couple games that could have gone the Lakers' way, but in the end, I think even if the Lakers won two of those games, Denver probably still beats us. Just they have a better team than us. I think currently their roster is better, and I think ultimately the coach, despite him rubbing a lot of people the wrong way, I think the coach does know what he's doing in terms of their offense and how to maximize Jokic. So it is what it is, and hopefully we can get to their level by next year in some way or another.
Lakers lose 113-111 to the Denver Nuggets. Denver Nuggets are off to their first finals appearance in franchise history, at least in the NBA. So Denver's going to try to be the second team from the ABA originally to win a title. The one and only San Antonio Spurs, still the only ABA team to have won a title in the NBA. LRob. I keep wanting to say LeRob, which is what your name is, but everyone calls you LRob. So
I've been calling a lot worse, so that's good.
I'm going to call you LeRob because I think I want to be different. I don't want to just be like everyone else. LeRob, I gotta kind of, again, I'm trying not to go into next year, but it's going to be, it kind of tailors into what happened in this series. and what Stone said about going 6-0 after losses and then losing the last three. Or I should say Sean said that. Where can Darvin Ham improve this offseason? What could he have done in this series that would have maybe changed a few things? Or could he have? Because my opinion is I don't really think he could have done anything, because there were plays all 4 games that could have dictated a win in any of those games. And I'm sorry, guys, but Darvin Ham doesn't make those shots, right? You can tell when someone's not coaching well. If you've been watching the Miami-Boston series, you see the difference. Now, I'm not going to get on Joe Mazzulla on too much, because that guy got thrown into this at the beginning of the year, and I feel like it's unfair that if the rumors are true that they've stopped paying attention to him, that I think that's disrespectful, because that's not he came in ready to be an assistant coach, not to be a head coach of a title contender. So where could have Darvin Ham maybe changed a couple things and helped us here? And then what can we expect him to improve on, hopefully, for next season?
Yeah. I guess you can always look. I think everybody can look at it and say they could have did something better. Every player, and so and Darvin Ham's no exception. So coaches, although I agree with you, I thought he did a very good job, and the team just didn't make enough plays. What could he have done? I guess he could have benched D'Angelo earlier. He could have put Tristan Thompson, gave him positive minutes, and was able to keep AD fresh. AD came in the 4th quarter, and that was his best quarter. I mean, he showed some legs. I think he scored 10 of his 21 in the 4th quarter, and I attribute that to him getting some rest while Tristan Thomas was in there. Thompson was in there battling. So today, I thought he made the good moves. I guess you got to figure out, Vanderbilt. I mean, he had guys that just didn't bring a whole lot to the party, and it's kind of hard to mask some of those things. Maybe in the 4th quarter, run some more plays for Austin Reeves. Austin was getting into the lane in the 3rd quarter, finishing or either drawing fouls. So maybe when the offense bogged down in the 4th a little bit, instead of running things with LeBron, who was clearly somewhat fatigued, maybe go game 1 Grizzlies and put the ball in Reeves' hands. But that's hindsight, I mean, it's easy in hindsight for us to sit back and say he possibly could have did this and that. I thought he coached very well. He acquitted himself well. Players didn't make plays. AD's got Jokic one-on-one, tie ball game. Jokic, beats him to the basket, and Lakers fouled 2 3-point shooters, like you mentioned earlier. That's 6 points you gave him right there. Joker hit a exceptional defense by AD, and he hits another one of those step back threes. I think he did that twice today, actually. So I mean, it's more what Denver did right, and less on what Darvin Ham could have did differently in my eyes. Would have been nice to see D'Lo have a decent game. Would have been nice to see Vanderbilt make more of an impact. He tried to go Lonnie Walker the 4th today. He's stepping out of bounds with 6 minutes to go in the game. You can't do that.
And those are good points here. So let's look at the role players and how their role determined this series ending. So you had D'Angelo Russell, who was your starting point guard, who did really nothing for 4 games. Lonnie Walker won us a playoff game in the previous series. He couldn't tail in from that in this series. Schroeder played well in spurts. Reeves played well. I would say probably the 3rd best out of the 12 that were on the team. I mean, Vando is so deficient in offense. I wasn't surprised that he couldn't do anything on offense, but I did think that he'd play a little bit better defense, and that didn't come to any. I think the moment was too big for him. I mean, with that, some of those corner threes he was taking looked like Peja Stojakovic's threes in 2002. It was, I don't know, you could tell it wasn't going to go in from the moment he caught the ball. You could just see it. And confidence, I think, played a gigantic role. It just played a huge role in a lot of the guys that were on the Lakers. They could not bust through that
LeBron
pressure.
lost confidence in D'Angelo. He wouldn't pass him the ball.
Yeah.
He's backing in. D'Lo's wide open. I've seen that about 2 or 3 times. He's wide open, and LeBron loves giving it up.
Yeah. I think that's a great point.
What he do? Brick up his first 3-pointer, didn't even touch rim. LeBron's like, no, that's not
one thing I have noticed is I have not noticed the LeBron drive and dish. I feel like I rarely saw that, even in the playoff series that we won. So that put so much pressure on LeBron and AD, and just they couldn't make mistakes. They had to make every shot, and AD's misses magnified everything because the Lakers couldn't make an open shot on a regular basis. And Denver, they had Aaron Gordon hitting open shots, and he's not even a good shooter. So that's really the problem here. Is it's kind of regurgitated here. It's a broken record, but at the end of the day, those guys made the shots and we didn't. Lakers didn't, and this is a shot-making league, and it was more evidence in this series than ever before, which is just sad because in no way anyone predicted a sweep here unless you're being kind of obnoxious. It's sad. It's sad that it had to end this way. The Lakers are 0-9 when going down 3-0. That is I don't like that stat. But they did play their butts off, and they should have won this damn game. It's like they should have won the last 3 games, but at what point are we going to keep dwelling on it? I want some kind of reassurance that this summer there's going to be a few things that are going to change next year. Now that they've gotten out of this Westbrook problem the last 18 months or 2 years, I should say, they finally got through that and they were able to make a little run here. But where we go from here is again a discussion we'll probably continue, probably starting tomorrow. We will do some previews of what's going on in an upcoming series, depending on how the Heat and the Celtic game go tomorrow, and then obviously the finals. But Stone, what I want to ask you this, is there any chance, and I've asked you this off air, but I want you to tell our chat peeps out there, is there a chance, and the reason why I'm asking you this question is because there was a moment where the Spurs in the early 2010s had a little run because they drafted, or I should say they traded for a player who was picked 15th, who wasn't expected to be what he ended up being, Kawhi Leonard. And they ended up going to back-to-back finals, should have won in 13, but did win in 14. And Tim Duncan to say he was a shell of himself is an understatement, but still had enough leadership and enough talent to guide that team into what I thought was probably one of the greatest coaching seasons I've ever watched by Greg Popovich. Do the Lakers have somebody in this draft that they can get that could be a Kawhi Leonard type that late in the draft?
I'll say that there's always a chance of something happening with outlier development. Development isn't linear, and every player has their own pathway. And sometimes, I mean, nobody sees it. Like nobody saw Jokic, who got picked at 41st, being the player he is today, or else he wouldn't have gone 41st, right? Like there's always things like that happen. The higher the pick, the higher the possibility. I think that there's a couple of guys in this draft that we could definitely take that'll outperform the 17 numerical ranking, right? That maybe have a chance of getting an all-star too. The only guy I think in this draft to me that could maybe be like a 5-time plus all-star in the right circumstance and context would be like Nick Smith Jr., because I think he's fallen quite a bit since his high school days, and I think that there's a lot of college circumstances that made it a difficult year for him in this season, and I think that that's a guy I would definitely look at pick 17 I have him 6th on my board. I think that he, in the right context, could be that sort of like multi-time All-Star guy. I don't know if I see like a Kawhi, perennial All NBA type player in this draft at 17, because by the time we're picking at 17, I just think outside of the outlier development I talked about, a lot of those guys that have that potential are going to be gone. I think there's a couple guys that could drop to 10, 12 range that I would think have a decent chance of it. And if the Lakers could use 17 and like pick 47 or like a future pick swap or 17 and Max Christie or something, I think that it's worth going up for a couple of those guys in that range. And I'm sure I'll talk to Gerald about who those players are in an upcoming episode at some point. But I think that there's opportunities for this Lakers team to get a really good player at 17 and a useful player at pick 47, or package them up if a guy falls to 11, 12 and get someone that has a chance of making multiple All-Stars. But again, the likelihood generally at that sort of range is fairly low. I'm not saying it can't happen or won't happen, but the odds are generally stacked against you when you're picking at 17 that you're going to get that kind of player.
Yeah, the reason why I asked is because I'm trying to get to a point here with the Lakers where they got to focus on what they can control. And what they can control is the fact that they do have a 17th pick and a 44th pick. And they actually pulled 2 guys that were not even drafted. One is a defensive player. One is a first-team all-defensive player, and the other is in his 2nd season, who was the 3rd best player on this team. And is showing a lot of promise to getting better. And youth and skill set is what's going to preserve the older guys. If the Lakers want to win a championship, they're going to need to hit at 17 at the very least. And that right there is, in my opinion, a big focus on what's going on. And I'd say 20 years ago, maybe even 10 years ago, I wouldn't even be thinking about this. I'm like 17. I don't know who the hell we're going to get. I don't think it's going to matter. But I think player development, I think lack of identifying, like you said, Stone, of what the talent is out there. I think things have changed. And the Lakers have done one thing very well, even though they've been through this decade-long kind of mediocrity or just not good, is they've been really good at developing young players. And I don't know how the summer is going to turn out. I don't know how the structure of the salary is going to go. I don't know how cheap the Lakers might go. That's going to be the question, because I do remember when Dr. Buss was in charge, Dr. Buss did not care about spending money if it meant them winning a title. But as soon as they weren't going to compete for a title, that's when he sort of scaled back. And I kind of sense that Genie's likely going to do that, although the rules right now are a little worse than they were 20 years ago. So I don't know. It's going to be a question mark on how they're going to acquire talent in the summer, because right now we obviously have to sign a couple guys that are crucial to continuing this team the way it's structured. And then what do you do with D'Angelo? Like, if there was one guy we did not need to stink in this series, it was D'Angelo, because how are you gonna? You can't let him go either. Like, what are you gonna do? And who's gonna trade for him? I don't know. But Gerald, welcome from. I'm assuming you were at the airport.
That's correct. Just had a flight come in early for someone, so I had to go ahead and grab them. It's got to get the brother-in-laws, in-laws taken care of.
So should we start calling you the Uber father of
No.
Lakers Fast Break? Okay.
No, you should not.
Okay.
But
Okay. I wanted to
always got to
ask.
take care of them. Hey, LRob, got to go ahead and take care of LRob.
So I'm gonna pass the baton back to the. Or hold on.
No, you're the host today, man.
Are
You're
you
the
sure?
host.
Okay,
I'm
you
just
want me
a
to-
lowly guest.
Okay.
I am just a lowly guest.
Okay, so you don't want to be the anchor. You want me to be the anchor still at the end? Okay.
You
So-
started this. You got all the buttons. I'm in as a guest, so I will say this.
So I've asked Stone and LRob. I'm gonna call him LeRob because no one calls him LeRob. LeRob. I've asked LeRob and I've asked Stone about tonight's game, the series in general, and a little bit of the future. I didn't want to go too deep into it, but how did it feel while you were on the road? Was it a sinking feeling knowing that the inevitable was coming, or did you have that hope that they might be able to sneak this out so they can get to Denver on Wednesday?
Well, if you saw on our playback.tv Lakers Fast Break, highlights, if you saw in the chat, I put there with 2 minutes left and they hit that shot, I say game over. I thought the game over was at that point. I mean, kudos to the Lakers for even getting back into it and tying the game. And, they had 2 chances to win. And we've talked about this all season. LeBron James needing to go to the basket when the game is on the line. We talked about this in Boston, how much we liked it. We know what the situation was, and we had the foul and all that. But I will say this, the first shot he took with the fadeaway was awful with the shot clock running out. But the fact that he did go to the basket, with just a few seconds left, I think that's exactly what you want him to do. You want him to go, he was fouled, but you know what? They're not going to call it in that late situation. So we'll just have to go ahead and say, you know what? Nuggets won. We made the mistakes down the stretch. Joe and Stone called it with the fouls and the 3-point shooters on not 1 but 2 occasions. That's the game in a nutshell. But that third quarter all season long has been bad, and we've been, for the most part, the worst NBA team in the third quarter, and it just showed itself today. But before we go ahead and ask your next question, Joe, the host for today, the host with the most, I will say this. I've got a big thank you first off for you, LRob, Stone, Sean. I guess Sean had left, so had some internet issues with, like he has sometimes. So I do apologize for that. But everybody that's been a part as far as a panelist that's taken the time out of their day to go ahead and talk to you fans out there about the Lakers all season long, I've got nothing but big props for you, but also big props as well, just as big for everybody out there in the chat that listens or watches us and has over the course of the season. My thanks to you for catching us all season long. And we're not done by a long shot. We got all the summer. We're going to do a whole bunch of stuff. We're going to go ahead. Got a lot of programming lined up for you. We're going to go ahead and make sure your summer is filled with nothing but the Lakers Fast Break.
Very, very eloquently said there, Gerald. Normally, I'm not big on compliments, but I think being that it's the end of the year, kind of feels like
he lets me off the hook for once.
A bittersweet graduation of the season, which is what this is. Thank you for those kind words, and everyone out there. Just so you guys know, there is a wave that's being just accumulating here. It's an organic wave. It's nature's wave. This is not us throwing advertising things here, or that. This is all homegrown. The audience is growing here, guys. And the reason why it's growing is because we have guys that know this game, know the Lakers, know the NBA, know what's coming, like Stone Hansen. We got great storytellers like Sean, the MagicMan Grice. We have Gerald, who's kind of the glue in all this and has the kind of play-by-play voice to put everything together. And then you got LRob and Laker Tom and Zangerstein, who came onto our show last week for the first time and absolutely blew me out the water in terms of her knowledge and her execution of what she was analyzing during the series and the season as well. So we're very, very happy with the progression of this show. I rarely watch the competitor show because I always feel like I don't want to focus on that. But in the few times that I do see what's out there, call me biased. I don't know if I'm getting what I would want to get from those shows. That's here. What's here is you got answers to the question. You got people who know the history. That's another thing that's important. We know the history of this thing, in-depth history. And as long as you guys keep listening, we're going to be here even when we lose. And I told this to Gerald a few times the last few weeks. There were times when we were losing those games, even in the playoffs, where I didn't want to come onto the show. But that would have been a disservice. And a few times that I haven't been able to make it, people are calling for us. When the audience, and this is what's more important than anything when it comes to this kind of forum, when the audience wants you on, you are supposed to be on. Just like when a coach needs his player to play, it's the same concept. You got to suck it up and be here. Otherwise, you're a selfish, you know what, if you don't show up. So that's kind of our mindset here. And it's going to continue to be the mindset until you see us on billboards and you see us with broken mics and making funny faces on advertisements with all the big wigs out there. And believe me, it's coming, guys, because we're preparing for it. So Lakers go down 113, 111, get swept by the Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets were the 1 seed. The Denver Nuggets were the team to beat from the summer. If you guys go back, we do have receipts of that. I wanted to talk myself into believing that the Nuggets weren't anything because the Lakers were the best, because that's my team. I, again, will make the confession that I was full of crap. I turned into that hopeful, put stuff in my brain to make it happen crap, which is totally not my personality. But I know it does give people the positive and the feel-good feelings of that. But I will say this is probably the one and done for me. From here on out, you will never hear me say something that's not completely truthful, unless it's some kind of a joke, because I did fear Denver. I did think Denver would win this series without telling anybody. I did. I just thought you can see sometimes the team just has it, and they had it and they proved it. And now they're going to have to probably mess with a team that wants to make up for the 2020 loss, because I believe Miami was only going to lose to one team if the Lakers were to have won the series, and that would have been the Lakers. But I think Miami takes Denver in the finals if I had to make a prediction now.
Well, there you go.
Let's talk to I know LRob's been sitting waiting. LRob, I know we've talked about the series, and I know we've talked about what might be coming here. What's your prediction for? Can we say Miami, or is it too early?
No team has ever come back from 3-0, so I guess.
So that's 100. So as of right now,
yeah,
in NBA history, going back to the history thing, guys, anyone who's gone 0-3 has lost has lost 150 times out of 150 times, and tomorrow might be 151.
I think about 85% of them have even if they won one game, they lost in 5. So, it doesn't bode well for the Celtics. But, hey, they still breathing. So who knows? Anything can happen. But I think Denver wins it. I think Denver would take Miami. I think they have Miami have a problem with the big man. So I don't see what Miami can do to slow down Joker, and he's got shooters all around him.
I'll tell you why.
And Boston doesn't have the discipline to defend Miami. They're getting sucked in on the drives and leaving shooters, and that team's just a mess right now. So Denver's got the discipline. I mean, there's a certain thing only so much coaches can do. Coaches can draw up the play, but you got to have players with the IQ to make plays. Jamal Murray left his man. He seen LeBron coming, and he left his man. It's like, you know what? I'm going to leave my man and gamble that LeBron's not going to dish it to him. And if he is, I'm not worried about him, and I'm going to make it difficult for him to finish. Tied LeBron up and pretty much won the game with that one defensive play. And it was another game that he made a good defensive play. So that team is playing, they're playing pretty smart basketball. But Miami's playing great too, so should be a good contest. I don't know. Miami was down 6 and 5 minutes ago in the elimination game for them in the second play-in game to the Bulls, and ever since then I haven't been a believer. But so I guess I'm not gonna start believing in them now. I'm loving them beating Boston, but I thought they'd lose to Milwaukee. I did pick them to beat the Knicks, but they did it a lot easier than I thought. I definitely picked Boston to beat them, so I'm not Denver. I've been a believer in them like you guys for most of the season. They just I felt Joker has been the best player. I mean, he's won 2 MVPs, but ever since he won my fantasy league, I've been big on Joker, just watching him dominate. So, what is Bam going to do? Go ahead, Joe. Tell me.
Well,
What is Miami going to devise to stop him?
Here's where I think there's an advantage for Miami. Denver has a whining issue. They were able to get away with it with the Lakers because the Lakers couldn't make shots. But Bruce Brown, I keep wanting to call him Bruce Bowen. Bruce Brown better not yap too much, otherwise you might see him turn. You might see a problem there against Miami. The issue with Denver is their coach has this Doc Rivers kind of whining type atmosphere.
Yeah, he's pretty snarky.
Yeah. If Miami steals game 1, you're going to see Denver start to tighten up. They're going to start to whine more. They've already been whining in these games, but they're going to whine even more when they're that close. So watch out for that. I would say watch out for that. See how their mental parts work on that. Because right now you look at somebody like Spoelstra, you look at Jimmy Butler, you look at Duncan Robinson, you look at that Bam Adebayo. They don't look like anything's messing with them. They're there to kill people. And again, and they are looking back at 2020 and going, we got to get our title. They believe that was their title, even though they lost. They got work too. I mean, they played well, don't get me wrong, but they believe that that's their title. So now they're going to try to make up for it. I don't know if it'll go 7, but I know it'll be competitive. But I'm picking Miami in that series just because I think they have a little bit more mental fortitude, and I think they have the better coach, and I think they have the better primetime player. I know Jokic is the back-to-back MVP before this season, but perimeter guys that have that kind of skill set usually have a little bit more of a say in games like this. But we'll see. We'll get a chance to see it. Stone, what's before we shut down here for the night, what's your thoughts on the next series, and what's your prediction on that series?
Yeah, I mean, I think any team that is winning their conference final series has a legitimate chance to win the finals. So I'm not going to discount either team. I think on paper, I would probably pick Denver. I just think that they have the better roster, in my opinion. Not that Miami doesn't have a good one. I just think that Denver, to me, makes more sense just with the talent that they have. I think they have better tough shot makers outside of Jimmy Butler that the Heat do. I think Bam's going to defend Jokic as good as Jokic has seen. I think at least if they're going for a one-on-one type thing, they might adjust obviously as the series goes on. But if they start with Bam on Jokic, despite Jokic being probably 3-4 inches taller and 50 pounds heavier, I think Bam is really solid in terms of coming out further on Jokic, being mobile enough to defend him out further. I think that the Heat obviously have really solid defenders on their own. So it'll be fun. I think it'll be a good series. I wish the Lakers were in it, but I think between those two, it'll be a fun series. And I would pick Denver. I still think Denver has a good coach. I think Spo is definitely the better coach of the two, but I just think I buy Denver's talent a little bit more than Miami.
Good assessment there, Stone. I can't disagree with it. Gerald, what's your thoughts on the next series, as depressing as it is that we couldn't get a redux of the 2020 finals?
And that's a very sad thing for us here today. Again, mistakes down the stretch by the Lakers in all 4 of these games cost us, and it was that close. But we could take solace in the fact that, unlike Boston, we didn't give up. It just comes down to the point where Miami is going in with a lot of momentum. They're the underdog. But I'm going to say right now, Joe, that home court advantage by Denver is really something, especially with the thin air. And I don't even care how much preparation that you think you have for it, even though it will be spaced out as far as days, since it's probably not going to go to, exactly every other day like we've been seeing. I think where they're going to space it out a little bit more for finals, starting on the 1st. So if they get it finished tomorrow, you could have several days off, which would be great rest for both teams. But I really think, though, that the climate and thin air is going to still be an issue for Miami, and I'm still picking Denver. I think Denver, once you start to see them, as I said so in the previous round when the Lakers were playing Golden State, and I said they were the toughest challenge for the Lakers, and I meant it. They can throw size, they can throw some speed at you, and they can throw – they have a nice little roster. They have some backups that are playing pretty good, and Bruce Brown's playing with an edge. I really think right now Denver is going to go ahead and take it.
Wow, so you all feel Denver. I'm the only one that's picking Miami.
Yeah, Jimmy F. and Butler, but yeah, the Jokic is just a monster.
If Miami, one thing Spo's going to do that I wish the Lakers would have did a little bit more was move Jokic around on defense. So Denver is going. Miami will expose him on defense more, and he'll be matched up on some 3-point shooters, and he won't be able to kind of sag in the paint. I wish the Lakers would have just moved AD around a little bit more and let him attack Jokic. It seems like every time AD went, he tried to go straight line, and you got to make Jokic change direction. Use his lack of mobility against him, and he didn't do that. And that's the one thing Miami will do. So now if they can expose that, then I think they have a legitimate shot. But
Denver's going to have to win the first 2 at home for me to say, okay, I think Denver's pretty much going to do this. If Miami steals a game in Denver, there's going to be a problem. The problem the Lakers have is something that Miami hasn't shown, which is missing open shots. That is everything right now in these series. One team is missing, the other team is making. The team that's making is up 3-0, now it's 4-0, and then Miami is now trying to get their sweep. It's part of why I said at the beginning of the series, I said if Denver makes their shots, they're going to win, which they did. I just didn't know the Lakers were going to play this bad. I didn't know D'Lo was going to play this bad. I thought he'd have his, let's say if they went 6, if he played 3 bad games and 3 good games, we would have probably won the series. But LeBron and AD could not do it by themselves. They've been doing it by themselves for too long. At least LeBron got burnt out. And I think AD got mentally fatigued. I think if anything with AD, I think he was just mentally fatigued. Those chippies are a focus thing. And he didn't seem to have it. And we'll take that into the offseason and see kind of how that develops. Do you guys think that LeBron is having surgery this summer? I know this hasn't been talked a lot about, but I'll ask you, Stone, what's your assessment on that? Have you heard anything about LeBron's foot and what he might need to get it back to 100%?
I don't know exactly what's wrong with this foot, so because of that, I can't really say, one way or another what he's going to have done this offseason. If he does need surgery, I would expect it happens, probably within the next couple of weeks.
He says he wouldn't tell us. You would never know. That's what he told the press.
They'll find out. They have their ways.
Okay.
Look for shams inside the locker room stuff. He finds out from a family member that's paying him.
But I don't know. To me, the bigger worry is LeBron's age headed into next season. He's not going to get any better as each season goes on. He's 38. Every player starts declining at some point. I mean, it's just reality. You can't ignore it. And I think we saw a little bit of that this season. Obviously, tonight he played exceptionally. But this series, I think we started to see a little bit of that. And I think next year, it's obviously some of it could be attributed to the foot, but each year it's going to get a little bit more and more noticeable. So I think for me, that's my bigger fear than the foot.
And that's something I wanted to bring up. Stone has said this time and time again. Before the season started, LRob, Joe, we talked about this. You said give AD that one more season because we were talking at that time about trading AD and should we trade AD, going back and forth on it. And Stone has it right as far as we will probably, as an organization, the Lakers will probably hold on to AD and LeBron longer than we should have. And we're going to go shoulda, woulda, coulda on that. But, I don't think LeBron will ever get traded unless he wishes to be traded. But AD, he's going to probably get older and older a lot quicker than what we're hoping for.
Yeah, but you can let him play out his contract when likely it would be the right time to let him go. Obviously the way they came through this season and his ability to play defense, you're not going to find anybody better out there anyways. AD, I think the focus for AD is there needs to be something in his training this summer that takes him into an MVP level. It's time. I mean, it's way past his time. He should have won an MVP a couple of years ago. And I think he needs to use this offseason as a springboard to being the best player in the NBA for the 23-24 season. Yeah. If he's not that guy, it's going to just be harder for this team to have a chance at winning another title, because I believe that's the part that's going to be important to control. The draft at 17 is in your control. And that's because of the way you played this year, the way AD played this year to finish it off. That's in your control to improve on that and try to make sure that next year is a year that you've never had before, where you're an MVP or at least close to an MVP, so that you have a chance at winning. LeBron cannot play more than 30 minutes a game in any game the rest of his career. Cannot. If you want to use LeBron's experience and his all-time great games every now and then, which he still will likely have, you have to preserve him. You cannot use him like you used him this year. Understood that we had to use him the way we did because we had no choice. But next year, you don't have a problem like a Russell Westbrook or a Patrick Beverley. You have an option now to do something this summer to bring in someone that can cover those minutes, and you have to sit down with Anthony Davis and go, Anthony, you play a part in this. You need to make sure that when you're out there and LeBron is sitting, that nothing changes. It's like, it's almost worse because Anthony Davis is on. I don't know if that's ever going to happen. I don't know if that's ever going to happen. I don't know if AD has that 82-game mindset plus playoffs. I think he has it for 60 games during the year, and he has it for maybe 3/4 of the time in the playoffs. But if that's who he's gonna be, you have to have a third guy that can make shots when you need it, and that's kind of where we're at on that. And with that, I want to thank Stone Hansen, LeRob, and Gerald, the Podfather Glassford, for allowing me to host the show tonight. Sean Grice, I know communication sucks. Sometimes the internet traffic gets to you, even though there's no traffic on the road for you. I'm sorry that you weren't able to finish the show with us here tonight, but we're gonna take care of that hopefully soon enough, where we're not gonna have this communication issues. That's gonna come down to you guys that are out there supporting us. The more of you that are out there liking, subscribing, and watching, the more things come our way, so we can make sure Sean's internet works. That's very, very important. So, let
me just say this. Let me just say this before we go, because I sent each one of you the numbers from September 20th was a show that you and I did, Joe, all the way to till May 20th. So that's September to May. So that's 8 months. In that 8 months, I showed the numbers, like 70,000 of our 100,000 views plus was done during that time. To give you an idea, over 80% of our subscribers that we've gained have come in that time. And just to tell you, and just to show you that how well and fast we've grown, we're just still thankful because of you. And again, we'd like to keep that same thing going through the off season. We've got goals we want to set. We've got shows we want to do. I know Laker Tom and Jamie Sweet, they want to do their own thing as well on the weekends. There's a whole bunch of things. LRob is going to hopefully come back on and destroy Sean Grice and Joe and trivia and so much more. Stone Hansen for the interviews that I've got lined up for him. So we've got a whole ton of stuff lined up for you all summer long, but we need your help. If you know somebody out there that's a Lakers fan, please let them know about the Lakers Fast Break. We need that word of mouth. I mean, if you want Trevor Lane, if that's who you want as the guy that represents Laker Nation, by all means.
It's been very difficult.
If you want Anthony Irwin representing what you guys want out there for your Lakers Nation, by all means. But I don't think that's the case.
It's been very difficult not to say Laker Nation. I've been saying Laker Nation for years, but the problem now is it's a moniker for the competition. So we can't really say Lakers Nation without you thinking of Laker Nation. Mm-hmm. And we're not tied to the Laker organization. We're not tied to being, I guess, tied up verbally.
We're not in the in crowd.
We're not in the in crowd. And guys, here's how this works. If I had to use an analogy, the guy that was in high school that wasn't part of the preppy group but was still popular, that's us. That's us. That's who I was in high school. I know that's how.
That's more popular than I was in high school.
I know for sure that's
Sweet.
who LeRob was. That guy too. Gerald.
That's an apt description, Joe.
Right? Gerald was probably
the guy with the Letterman's jacket going on. He was just like he was stuffing nerds.
No. Wrong. See, you're not paying attention.
I'm kidding.
I was an athlete, but I was never a jock.
I said
okay. I've been around meatheads. I don't do well with meatheads. Okay. I'm sorry. No. I've been around a lot of meatheads in my life. I can't stand them either.
Joe wasn't the one that was listening.
No. You kept.
I said LRob. I said LRob was the guy with the Letterman's jacket. I didn't say Joe. Joe, that's the easy joke. That's the easy joke to have said Joe Soro.
Okay, so then maybe I'm getting maybe hit a target there on that one.
Okay, there you go.
But anyways, yes. So that's the show. That's what we're going to be here, guys. And freedom is freedom, and being able to express yourself is a very important thing, especially in this medium. And a lot of times when you kind of hear the words of sellouts, right? Oh, this guy's sold out. Joe Rogan got a lot of that stuff when he went to Spotify, right? Oh, well, Joe, you were doing this. Now you're getting paid $140 million. Now you're going to be all ruled.
I'll be a sellout for $140 million.
Well, okay. Let's see. You're not getting my point here.
I throw Stone and LRob $20 million per. I think they might be sellouts.
Okay.
I'll never miss an episode.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing with that. It's going to take a lot to get to that point, and we got to sell out as a subjective thought process.
Okay.
I won't get into the details of it, but bottom line is we're trying to create a show where you can learn, be entertained, and like the people you're watching. There are going to be trolls every now and then that are sitting in their houses in their underwear with no lives and just think that they can yap all they want. They don't know that we're going to find them, get into their house and slap them in the face while they're in their underwear yapping like that, because I bet you they don't talk like that in front of people's faces, right? But we're going to call you out on that. We're going to call you out on that.
Lakers shorts on. Does that count?
Whatever floats your boat, man. Okay. But with that, I'm gonna with that, I unfortunately have to end it with the fact that the Lakers did get swept tonight. The Lakers are out of the playoffs. We are not going to see a rematch of the 2020 finals, unfortunately. But Denver, in all intents and purposes, was the better team. They were the better team all year. Congrats, especially for our esteemed chat room patrons. That are Denver Nuggets fans. Good luck in the finals. I hope everything goes well for you. A little bit of me does want the West to always win. So if Denver wins, I'll still be somewhat satisfied. But Lakers, let's see what you guys can start doing now.
You'll be right. Yeah. your opening prediction of the season.
Well, yeah, it's
going all the way.
And going back to what I've always said during the year is I want to be wrong, and unfortunately, it's looking like
You're not going to be wrong.
Not going to be wrong, and that sucks.
But now I have to hear about it all summer long. Great on this show. At least everybody will be with me. That's awesome.
Good for everyone. We'll see how that kind of turns out. But for LRob, Gerald, Sean, Laker Tom Spirit, John's whatever he's doing out there, and
Yami
of course
Swoot.
Yami Swoot and Stone Hansen. Thank you for joining us tonight. Have a great evening, and we will
Laker
see
Nick.
you. We will. Oh, Laker Nick! Can't forget Laker Nick. Laker Nick, please. We need you on here more now that we're not going to be doing playback.
Absolutely.
You got to be here. We need counseling from the counselor, please.
I also got to put him on retainer just to protect
We'll get him.
ourselves
We'll
against
get him.
Joe.
That's good. That's
Okay.
good for again for the whole Lakers Fast Break family. Gear is starting. By the way, guys, some of you that have been asking for gear, I am meeting with my apparel person tomorrow, so the ball will start there.
Will it
Have
say
a great
Kyrie
night.
Irving on it?
What?
Will it say Kyrie Irving on it?
We're going to find out in about 2 months, I think.
Okay.
Have a great night, everyone. God bless, and we'll see you soon.
Go Lakers.
Go Lakers.
Always.